Somewhere in Australia right now, someone who did everything right, full service history, no skipped oil changes, dealer-only parts, is staring at a repair quote bigger than what they originally paid for the car. That is the trap hiding inside this list. None of these 15 cars were sold as duds. They were sold as smart, safe, sensible choices, several of them brand new from mainstream dealerships with warranties and glossy brochures. Underneath the badge, though, a design fault, a stretch chain, a dry clutch pack, or a failing control module was quietly waiting to turn an ordinary Tuesday into a very expensive one. We are counting down from bad to genuinely catastrophic, using recall notices, court judgments, and real repair invoices, not forum rumors. A few of these you will already know. A couple will surprise you. And the one waiting at the very top has cost one carmaker more than almost any other consumer case in Australian automotive history. Number 15. SsangYong Musso and Action. Older SsangYong Musso and Action models, built through the 2000s and into the early 2010s, actually earn a lot of loyalty from owners who put big kilometers on them without drama. The mechanicals, based on old Mercedes-Benz engines and transmissions, hold up well. The real regret shows up later, at trade-in time. Resale value collapses hard next to a Hilux or Ranger, and finding a mechanic who stocks Musso parts on a shelf, rather than ordering and waiting, is its own headache. It is not a broken car. It is a car that quietly punishes you the day you try to sell it. Number 14. Milligram 3 and Milligram 6. The Milligram 3 sells itself on price, and on that measure it delivers. The regret creeps in through two channels: depreciation that outpaces almost anything else in the segment, and a parts supply chain that still struggles with basic filters, let alone anything more serious. Owners report chasing dealers for stock that simply is not listed. Some early engines have also shown a timing chain rattle worth watching, even if outright failures are not yet widespread. Buy it for the drive-away price, not for what it will be worth in 3 years. Number 13. GWM V200. The GWM V200 built its reputation as a genuine price leader among dual-cab utes. Then came the recall. A bracket in the engine bay sat too close to the wiring harness, letting it rub against the radiator until the insulation wore through, which could kill the earthing, drain the battery, or melt wiring. Ateco, GWM's Australian distributor, recalled over 9,000 of these utes, covering every model year sold in the country since the V200 launched. A cheap fix once caught, but it touched almost the entire national fleet. Number 12. Peugeot 308. The 308 drives nicely enough that reviewers routinely rank it above its reliability reputation. The diesel versions clog their particulate filters on short urban runs, the AdBlue system throws its own separate faults, and certain petrol engines have needed revised timing chains and tensioners more than once during production. Peugeot Australia even recalled thousands of 2017 to 2023 108, 208, and 2008 models over a timing belt fault. Workshop data puts total repair exposure across these known issues anywhere from a minor service level cost up to several $1,000s, depending on which one finds you first. Number 11. Holden Cruise 1. 4 Turbo. On paper, the Cruise 1. 4 Turbo looked like sensible small car motoring. In practice, that engine's timing chain has a well-known habit of rattling on cold start long before anything resembling a service interval. One Australian owner was quoted around $1,200 just for cam cover and timing cover gasket work after noticing oil weeping near the timing housing. It rarely leaves you stranded outright, but it nags at you, and at your wallet, from surprisingly early in the car's life. Number 10. Alfa Romeo Giulietta. Buy a Giulietta for how it drives and you will not be disappointed. Buy it expecting Japanese-style electrical dependability and you are in for a shock. Sensor and control unit faults, aircon glitches, and central locking gremlins have shown up on some examples from as little as 30,000 to 50,000 kilometers. Alfa Romeo has featured in Australian recall rounds alongside far bigger brands for related electrical concerns. The driving experience explains why people fall for these cars. The dealer visits explain why so many later sell them. Number 9. Land Rover Discovery 3 and 4. Air suspension is what makes a Discovery feel like a luxury vehicle over rough ground, right up until it does not. Around the 6 to 7 year mark, air springs, the compressor, or the control module start to fail, and repair costs documented by specialists range from a few $100s for a single spring up to roughly $7,000 once the whole system needs attention. It is one of the clearest cases on this list of a feature that defines the car also being the thing that eventually bankrupts your servicing budget. Number 8. Mitsubishi Outlander Diesel. Short commutes are exactly what kill an Outlander diesel's particulate filter. Without enough sustained highway running to let it regenerate properly, soot builds up, power drops, and the warning lights come on. Workshop quotes for a full DPF assembly replacement, once cleaning and forced regeneration stop working, have run from around $2,250 up to $5,680, and some owners report the fault returning within weeks of paying for the fix. A diesel bought for economy ends up costing more than the petrol alternative ever would have. Number 7. Jeep Grand Cherokee WK2. The WK2 generation Grand Cherokee packs in more electronics than most rivals, and that complexity has a price. The TIPM control module and the alternator are the two most reported failure points, with some owners describing a total loss of power steering, brake assist, and stability control mid-drive when the alternator let go. Jeep's Australian arm recalled more than 43,000 Grand Cherokees built since 2011 over related concerns. Real repair bills documented by owners run around $1,200, often followed by a chain of smaller sensor faults once the alternator is replaced. Number 6. Holden Captiva. Mechanics gave the Captiva an unflattering nickname years ago, and it stuck for a reason. The V6 petrol's timing chain stretches and requires replacement at a cost documented between $1,500 and $4,000. The diesel's particulate filter adds another $1,500 to $3,000 on top. Layer in multiple official recalls, including a fuel feed hose that could rub against the air conditioning pipe and start a fire, and a starter motor cable that could melt, and you get a car that tested Australian consumer law patience more than most. If you have made it this far, you will want to see number 1. It is the most expensive consumer law fight on this entire list, so stick around. Number 5. Nissan Pulsar and X-Trail CVT. The CVT fitted across the Pulsar and this generation of X-Trail has failed often enough that Nissan's own technicians have, in some documented cases, described the damage as catastrophic and beyond repair. Real repair quotes range from around $4,500 to $9,800 depending on the model and whether a used or reconditioned unit is used. American owners eventually won a class action payout over near-identical failures. Australian owners have had no equivalent collective outcome so far, leaving most to fight individual consumer law claims dealer by dealer. Number 4. Renault Koleos. Earlier Koleos models share their CVT lineage with Nissan, and the failure pattern follows. One documented Australian case saw an owner quoted $9,800 to replace the transmission, more than the car itself was worth on the used market at the time. Shuddering and jerking under light acceleration has persisted for some owners even after software updates and warranty repairs, which is exactly the kind of fault that turns a good-looking, well-spec'd SUV into something you quietly list for sale the moment the warranty runs out. Number 3. Volkswagen DSG DQ200. This is where recall numbers start climbing into the tens of thousands. Volkswagen Australia recalled close to 26,000 Golf, Jetta, Polo, Passat, and Caddy models fitted with the DQ200 dual-clutch gearbox after an electronic fault in the mechatronic control unit caused sudden power interruption while driving. A second, separate recall a few years later covered more than 16,000 additional Polo, Golf, Jetta, and Passat vehicles for a fluid leak that could cause loss of drive. Two distinct engineering failures, in the same gearbox family, roughly 42,000 affected vehicles combined. Number 2. BMW N47 Diesel. BMW's N47 four-cylinder diesel, fitted across the 1, 3, and 5 series and the X1 and X3 through the late 2000s, hit its timing chain at the rear of the engine, against the gearbox, rather than at the front where it could be easily inspected or replaced. When the chain tensioner fails and the chain stretches, the timing slips far enough that valves can strike pistons, effectively riding off the engine. BMW addressed it in Australia through a technical service campaign rather than a blanket recall, which meant plenty of affected cars only got attention once they had already failed on the road. Number 1. Ford PowerShift DPS6. Nothing else on this list comes close to the scale of the Ford PowerShift saga. More than 70,000 Focus, Fiesta, and EcoSport vehicles in Australia were fitted with the DPS6 dry dual-clutch transmission between 2011 and 2016, and its input shaft seals, clutch lining, and control module were prone to failure, causing hesitation, unexpected deceleration, and sometimes total loss of drive. The ACCC fined Ford $10 million in 2016 for mishandling complaints. A class action followed, and the federal court ruled in 2021 that the affected vehicles were not of acceptable quality under Australian consumer law. The full court upheld that finding in 2023, and the fight over how much compensation is owed reached the High Court in 2024. Almost a decade and a half after the first cars were sold, the case still is not fully resolved. Look back across this list and the pattern is not bad luck spread randomly across the industry. It is complexity outrunning real-world testing, again and again, in transmissions, electronics, and emission systems that were pushed to market before they were properly proven. The defense is not avoiding modern cars altogether. It is checking the official recall register before you buy, pulling a full service history, and getting an independent pre-purchase inspection on anything with a dual clutch, a CVT, or a diesel particulate filter behind that badge. So, which one of these have you actually owned, and did it match what is on this list? Tell me below. And if you want the flip side of this, the models that quietly held their value and never gave their owners a single one of these headaches, that video is coming next.